This is the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
Hey, y'all, what's good? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Darren Harris. This is the Darren Harris Podcast, y'all. What's happening? Thank you for joining me. If you have stumbled on this podcast for the first time, I appreciate it. I do really appreciate you giving me an opportunity. And I hope that you'll stick around for a little while. Tell some people. If you are a returning listener, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you. If you one of the day ones, what's happening, y'all? How you feeling? This is my podcast. Today I'm talking about entertainment. I'm going to be talking about entertainment, what happened at the Oscars. And what happened was, in my opinion, was great, but I think it was long overdue. And I still don't think that we were fully recognized, fully affirmed, or fully legitimized in this effort. Now, I'm talking about Sinners. Did you see Sinners? I mean, me and my wife saw it a couple times, 2-3 times. Great movie. Absolutely fantastic movie. You know, we saw it in the theater, then we saw it at home. Fantastic movie. Absolutely great movie. And I saw the other movies also. And I have some problems with the movie that won Best Picture, and I'll get to that in a little while. But today I'm going to be talking about why Hollywood has historically had a hard time legitimizing and validating our talent, our artistry, and our excellence. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. But first, before I get into it, I want to do a quick, fast mental health check because it's important to me. It's important to me how everybody's mental health is doing. I know that we are going through some trying times here, not just in this country, but on the fucking planet these days. And there's a lot of uncertainty. And I know people are stressed. You can see it. You can see it as people drive around in traffic. There's a lot of gnashing of teeth. And I just want to encourage anybody out there that is having a weak moment or having an episode or having a time where they are feeling like they can't continue. I want to let you know that there are people out there that are more than willing to help you. They are out here. There are professionals. You know, while we still have them, while, you know, these things are still, I am the biggest advocate for going and sitting and talking to somebody besides your fucking friends. Because your friends are going to, you know, some of them got good advice, but for the most part, your friends don't know really what the fuck they're talking about. Go talk to somebody professional if you are struggling mentally. I have some issues myself, you know, and I talk to people, you know what I mean? And like I said, I'm a big advocate for it. I think my life is much better because of it. And I encourage anybody who has thought about it to go ahead and take the leap. There's nothing to be afraid of, and there's definitely nothing to be ashamed of. So I just wanted to get that out there for anybody who might be struggling. And at this time, I'm going to take a quick, fast break. And when I come back, we are going to jump into Hollywood and why they can't really, you know, fully acknowledge who we are.
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the show. All right, quick question, y'all. Did you see Sinners? Did you see it? I mean, did you look at the movie? Did you see all the symbolism in the film? I did. I thought it was great. If you didn't see this movie, go see it. Stream it or watch it on, I think it's streaming somewhere. I know it is. It's someplace. Go see this movie, okay? If you didn't see it now, most black folks that I know have seen this movie. But believe it or not, there are some that have not seen this movie. I want to encourage you to go see this movie. You know, if you don't do, you know, vampire movies or whatever, just you get by it. You have to get by it. You have to see it because you have to understand the symbolism behind it. Okay? You got to see it. Tom Cruise went and saw it. Tom Cruise loved it. Tom Cruise said it was an amazing film and it was a must-see in theaters. Kevin Bacon loved it. Kevin Bacon, all he said was, wow. Kevin Bacon said, wow. And he gave it an enthusiastic 10 out of 10. And those are two of Hollywood's, heaviest hitters of all time. Absolutely loved it. As a matter of fact, I think this was one of the few movies that featured black people that I think white people actually went to go see. Went to pay their money and went and sat down in a chair. Wanted to walk out. A lot of them said they loved it. They loved it. They loved it. I really do, man. I think that's great. I think that's great that that movie got that kind of support from white people. I think it's great. There was a lot of Best Picture buzz. There was a lot of Best Director buzz. There was a lot of Best Actor buzz. It was good. It was more than good. It was outstanding. And I saw the other movie that won Best Picture. And it was a good movie. It was a very good movie, but I had a problem with that movie. Now I'm gonna get to that later on in the podcast. But I enjoyed both movies, but I definitely enjoyed Sinners a lot more. It touched me a lot more. And it really, I mean, if you watched, I mean, I don't know if you watched the Academy Award, it really Sinners had a good night. They had a good night. And I don't know, maybe I'm just, giving everybody how I feel about it. But I really do think that one battle after another, it was a great movie, but I don't think they could have given Sinners both best actor and best picture and best director. We couldn't have done that. They would not have. I don't think the Academy would have really allowed that. And that's my personal opinion. I'm not any kind of taste maker or anything like that, but my personal opinion, based on the two movies and the message from both the movies. So like I said, Sinners touched me a lot more. Now, there were plenty of accolades for all of the actors involved, but I mean, the accolades and the praise for Sinners was overwhelming. I mean, overwhelming. That's really what you heard. I mean, in a lot of circles, was Ryan Coogler and what a great movie that he wrote. And he wrote this movie, wrote this screenplay, wrote it, and then wrote and directed it. You know what I'm saying? That's dope right there. And then, Michael B. Jordan, that man played twins like a fucking boss. I mean, for real, like a fucking boss. Ryan Coogler, I mean, he directed that movie. In my opinion, that movie was superbly directed. Because, I mean, in my opinion, he won Best Original Screenplay, but didn't win Best Picture or Best Director for a screenplay that he wrote, in which the actor who won the Academy's Best Actor category won the Academy Award. So he wrote a movie where this guy won the Academy Award from a screenplay. He won the movie from a screenplay that won the Academy Award for Best Screenplay, that was written by the man that directed the film, but he didn't win for directing his own work. I don't understand that. And I don't understand. And if the best screenplay produced the best actor, how could it not be the best picture? I mean, there's things, like I said, there's things that I don't understand. All right? There are things that I don't understand, but I think I understand some things. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm going to get into all of it, but we're going to keep going down this kind of tangent. Now, before the Oscars, we had the Golden Globes, and we had that other award, the BAFTA, what I don't know what the fuck it is, some shit somewhere. I mean, it's another award show. And at this award show, at the Golden Globes, which is kind of, the Golden Globes is kind of like the heat check for the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the what's up with this movie right here? You know what I'm saying? What's up with all the movies? And they gave Best Actor to Timothée Chalamet, if I think I'm saying his name right, which whatever. I mean, but and he was good as in his role, but he didn't play fucking twins. He didn't play two motherfuckers. That's what I feel. I mean, he didn't play. He didn't play two people. I mean, shit. I mean, what the fuck do we have to do? I mean, what do we got to do? But even still, at the Golden Globes, the only thing Sinners won at the Golden Globes was Best Original Score, and it won some sort of cinema box office achievement. That's all it won. Nothing for the director and nothing for the actor. Nothing. And meanwhile, this movie had been, buzzing all over Hollywood and in the rest of the country, really. Everybody. Buzzing. It's everywhere. This movie is everywhere. Everybody talking about this motherfucker. Tom Cruise is talking about this motherfucker, but all it gets is some sort of cinematic box office achievement award. And Best Original Score. That's wild business to me. It really is. 2 wins on the night, and one battle after another. At the Golden Globes, it got Best Motion Picture. It got Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actress from Tiana Taylor. 4 wins on the night. One battle after another. Got some significant burn, man. Got some real significant burn. And Sinners got nothing. Okay, all right. That's the Golden Globes. So nonetheless, people are upset about it. There was some not really gnashing of teeth, just a little bit of feeling shunned, and I guess a little bit like, all All right, cool, whatever. We get it. We understand how it goes. We fast forward to the Oscars, though, and Sinners wins, like I said, Sinners wins Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay from Ryan Coogler, Best Original Score from Ludwig Göransson, and Best Cinematography from Autumn Dorald Akapaw. I realized I should have said her name first before I started my podcast, but there it is. I don't mean any disrespect, but four on the night. Best Original Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Score, and Best Cinematography. So even the best looking movie with the Best Original Screenplay and the Best Actor and the Best Original Music can't pull off Best Director or Best Picture. I'm like I said, I don't understand. There are some things I don't understand about this culture. I don't. But I think I understand some. You know what I'm saying? I think I understand a few things. I mean, now, despite the accolades that these two gentlemen got and this movie got, I still feel, in my opinion, that it was a downgrade, not a this is as much as we're allowed as we're gonna give you. Almost to say, you know what I'm saying? And again, that's how I feel. Got some dude in his fucking motorcycle pulling off. That's some of the downfall of doing your podcast from an RV, anyway. But that's strictly how I feel. But I do know historically that Hollywood has always snubbed black actors and black directors and just black talent in general. Black stories, just kind of brushed them over. That's cute. Brushed them off to the side. I've known that. I've seen this. I've with the black. I felt it. I felt this. I've felt this disappointment in our community, seeing some of these actors go and do the most outstanding job of the year, only to get fucking snubbed by whatever. Now, this is very important for me to clarify. I am not diminishing any of the actors that won, any of their performances, any of these movies, the people who put their heart and soul. I'm not trying to say that, because honestly, Sean Penn, in one battle after another, that dude right there. I hated that motherfucker, and I love Sean Penn. Excellent job. Excellent job. You know what I'm saying? There are some actors. There are some actors that bring that heat every fucking time. And they're undeniable. You know what I'm saying? There are in both places, in both spaces, in both groups. There's some dynamite actors. But the recognition is not always the same. The recognition or the validation is not always the same. So, why does Hollywood keep snubbing black talent? And we're going to talk about that when I come back from this next break. I'll be right back. This is the Darren Harris Podcast.
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast. Take it, D.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. So, why does Hollywood keep snubbing black talent? Why does it keep, basically telling us that our product is not as good but it's not as good as ours. Or the status quo, let's just say. They always, we've been relegated for years. It took years. Okay, let's do this. If we're going to talk about black excellence in Hollywood, we're going to start by telling the truth right off the bat, okay? And the truth is this. Hollywood didn't start by celebrating us, okay? We were not celebrated. They didn't celebrate black people in Hollywood. It started by the opposite. They demonized us. It started by demonizing us, okay? All right, look. I'm going to give you guys like the Cliff Notes just to bring everybody up to speed real fast, okay? Back in 1915, there was a film called Birth of a Nation, okay? It was directed by a guy named D.W. Griffith, and at the time, the film was one of I guess it was considered to be one of the most influential films of American history. All of American history. One of the most influential films at one time. This film was one of the most influential films in all of American history. But it was also one of the most racist films ever made. And to this day, probably, in my opinion, probably is the most racist film ever made. They had us out here looking fucking wild as hell, man. They had us out here looking like wild animals, man. Like these violent, uncontrollable savages, just savages and predators with this insatiable and uncontrollable thirst for white ladies. White ladies? Really? That's it. That's the end all be all of what we want. Not fucking freedom back in those days. You know what I'm saying? Not fucking equality. Not any. Just to live is what we wanted. But no, they had to put white ladies on the top of that pile. And that's what it was about. That's really what it was about. There was literally a scene in this movie, all right, where a white woman literally jumped off a fucking cliff to her death. She literally jumped to her death rather than have a black man touch her. That shit is crazy to me, man. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Darren, how did they get black actors to play the role of the savages? How did they do that? And the answer to that question is simple. They didn't. They used a cutting edge technology for the time called blackface. That's what it was. That's what it was. Oh, and get this. The heroes of this story were the good old wholesome Ku Klux Klan. That's right, the fucking Klan. The Klan. Now, I'm going to say that again, all right? I'm going to say that again. One of the movies that helped build Hollywood's stature, helped to build Hollywood. This movie was screened at the White House. It was called the greatest movie ever made by the sitting president at the time, and it celebrated the Klan as the good guys. The fucking Klan. Okay? So that's ground zero, okay? That's back in the day, all right? That's Hollywood back in the day, all right? Okay? That's the history of it. So if anybody didn't know, that's really kind of one of the tools or one of the films that built Hollywood. Okay? The award system there was really never designed to fairly evaluate black black talent, our excellence. It was never really. It was more, actually, it was designed to protect the existing and flourishing hierarchy. That's what it was for. Okay, to validate them and their hierarchy. But then you fast forward, to 1940, and Hattie McDaniel. You know who Hattie McDaniel was? Hattie McDaniel became the first black person in history, to win the Academy Award for her role in Gone with the Wind. Now you know who Hattie McDaniel is? I know a lot of white people, Hattie McDaniel, who's Hattie McDaniel? Who's that? Because every white folks love Gone with the Wind. Y'all love Gone with the Wind. Now that was the first black person. Okay, the first black person to win an Academy Award. That was great, right? What a grand, historic moment for black people, right? It was great. What an achievement. And it was. But here is the part that gets left out of this whole scenario of she wasn't allowed to sit with the rest of the cast. And you can probably guess why, but I'm going to give you the answer anyway. She wasn't allowed to sit with the cast because the venue was segregated. Okay? She had to sit in the back of the room, all the way in the back. The venue was totally segregated. So the first black Oscar winner in the history of black people winning this award, the first black Oscar winner had to accept her award while sitting at a table, a separate table in the back of the fucking room. She couldn't even sit with her co-stars. She couldn't even sit there and enjoy that moment as just an actor. She had to be reminded of where she belonged in society. Even though she won an Academy Award for her role in this movie. That's a shame. That's a shame. But that's okay. That is okay. Because now we fast forward decades. Several decades. And you got black artists all over the place. Breaking all kinds of fucking ground. Just breaking all kinds of fucking barriers and proving this entire industry wrong. Rewriting the whole thing. You got actors like Sidney Poitier who hit the fucking scene. You know what I'm saying? And Denzel Washington and Viola Davis and Halle Berry and Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson. That's my man right there. And Will Smith. Okay? And many more. And more than that. More than that. Way more than that. Not to mention, you got directors like Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, she's dope. The late, great John Singleton. And now you got Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler to add to that list of excellence. Okay? And we are proud. And I want to just thank these brothers from the bottom of my heart, all these people from the bottom of my heart, for showing the world, once again, showing the world what black excellence really looks like. Because that's what we look like. Okay? I mean, and don't get me wrong, Hollywood loves us. Okay? They love our talent though. I mean, they really do. They love us. But they love us as long as it can be consumed without challenging the hierarchy of Hollywood. I mean, think about it. Hollywood, it really does. It loves us. It celebrates us when we're like supporting characters, or we have like an inspirational side story, or, you know, something where our historical pain is neatly packaged for white people to make them feel comfortable. Okay? But I feel like this. When you have black artists who own the center stage, man, who redefine the craft and dominate the space without anybody's permission, like that movie Sinners did, that is when everybody's ass starts to itch. Okay? That's why. I mean, let's be clear about this. Michael B. Jordan didn't just act well. He outperformed the shit out of the whole fucking room. That man played twins with precision and range and restraint and authority, and that is damn near mastery of the fucking craft. And Ryan Coogler didn't just write a good movie. That man directed that movie. He delivered vision. He delivered control and tone and cultural specificity without any delusion whatsoever. And that film, it was not niche. It was not small. It was not for a certain audience. It was for everybody. And it was for everybody to see exactly what it was. All the symbolism was right where it needed to be. Everybody understood that shit loud and clear. And it was absolutely, unequivocally, and undeniably, in my opinion, the best movie of the year. The best film of the year. That man directed the shit out of that film. He directed out of that. I mean, how do you not win? How do you win? And this is my thing. How do you win Best Original Screenplay and direct the best actor in that screenplay, but not win Best Picture for that screenplay and the direction of that actor? Doesn't make any sense. That film most certainly deserves every single accolade that it got. Every drop of recognition that it earned. But see, that's the fucking problem, though. That's the problem right there. Too much. Most major award bodies, right? Like you got like the Academy Awards, then you have the HFPA, then you have the Golden Globes and stuff like even, you know, the fucking Recording Academy, the Television Academy. All that shit was founded and staffed for decades, and still really is, by overwhelmingly white, older industry insiders. Okay? So even as membership has diversified on paper, you know, the quote unquote taste-making culture hasn't shifted at the same pace. It's just, you know, it just is what it is. And you know, it's not, you know, like these awards, they're not just about who did the best work. They're also about who voters relate to and what stories feel real and universal to them, and what performances look familiar and comfortable to them, and what reinforces the myth that their perspective is not neutral. That's what it is. I got some dude out here fucking cutting the grass. It's like every time I try to do some sort of fucking content, some sort of anything, I got somebody cutting the grass. I got a motherfucking motorcycle flying by. I got 10 fucking airplanes. We're over here by this fucking airport. 10 airplanes, and it's fucking crazy to me how I just can't get some shit out. Sorry, y'all. I just had to vent that out. But I just want to point out, though, you know, I mean, like our stories, okay? But like black stories, we often don't fit their comfort zone. And that's what really kind of happens, especially when our voices, everything we have, our art and our voice, we challenge the systems of power, and we expose real true history, or we refuse to center whiteness. Okay? That's That is what the problem is. I'm going to take another break and I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. All right. This is the Darren Harris Podcast. I'll be right back.
This is the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. I had to go outside and tune up the lawn maintenance, people. Man, you got to cut that shit off. I'm trying to do something here. So where was I, man? I was talking about why Hollywood is reluctant to recognize black and minority performers. And the answer to that question is simple, okay? And that is because recognition equals authority. Okay, you get it? Recognition equals authority. When you consistently reward black artists for their work, what you're doing is you are validating black narratives as central, as centralized, as mainstream, and not, some sort of niche. You elevate black creatives into decision-making power, and you disrupt the idea that excellence has a default look. That's what happens. Hollywood is fine using black culture, but it is far more hesitant to hand over legitimacy. That's why, like, black performers are often, they're reward. When Denzel won his Academy Award, he had to be a crooked cop in order to win it. Halle Berry won, but she had to let Billy Bob Thornton bang the shit out of her in order to get it. It's like we almost have to be, either that or it's got to be tied to our trauma or extreme suffering. Like I said, extreme intimacy, and that's what the problem that I had with. Well, let me finish what I'm getting through. Or we play roles that reassure audience about race. Or our performances can be framed as overcoming blackness rather than simply being excellent within blackness. Our joy, our complexity, our subtlety, our experimentation, or genre bending black work. A lot of that often gets ignored. Just gets everything that we put forth. It just is whatever. It's out the window. Now, this is what, and I want to say this. This is the problem that I had with the other movie, One Battle After Another. This is the problem that I had with that film. And don't get me wrong. She played that motherfucking part. That girl played that part. She played that motherfucking part. Played that part. But the problem that I have is exactly what I just described. You know what I'm saying? Exactly what I just described. She had to, this woman had to basically become this over-sexualized, overly aggressive caricature of a black woman. And on top of that, to spin the irresponsible narrative like this black mother would just give up her baby and run the fuck out, and she's just, that's, and that's who, these men, or, the type of men that she was attracted, those were the type of men that she was attracted to. Just these white guys, that were, one, obviously, I guess he's a racist fuck, like I said, Sean Penn playing the shit out of that role. And Leonardo DiCaprio, and both of them, don't get me wrong, both of their performances were great, awesome, especially Sean Penn. Sean Penn blew that shit up. But the problem, like I said, that I have with that movie is the depiction of the black women. The depiction of the black woman. You know what I'm saying? We got, in Hollywood, anyway, we have to be 10 times better than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? 10 times better to even get looked at. But having to be, you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to say, y'all. I mean, like I was saying though, we have to be 10 times better than everybody. There is no secret to it, man. We got to be to stand up next to whiteness. Now I'll tell you why, because whiteness is graded on potential and familiarity, and blackness is graded on the contingency of us being perfect. It is graded on our perfection. Like a white performer can be, interesting, and they can be raw, and they can even be trying something new. But a black performer has to be undeniable. We have to carry cultural weight. We have to represent the entire group. And we have to deliver a powerful and real performance without making any of the tastemakers or voters feel uncomfortable. Mediocre white performances are forgiven a lot of times as nuanced, and exceptional black performances are dismissed as too much or too specific, or that's really not for everybody, is it? And that right there is not really a coincidence. That's somebody's bias disguised as taste. But we keep placing our value on their award system. We keep upholding their value system because award systems function as economic currency, not just validation. Okay? They affect budgets and distribution and green lights and streaming deals and your longevity in the business. And just to be clear, just to clarify, maybe even clarify it for us, black artists aren't choosing statues. We're not chasing that. That's not what we are chasing access. Okay? But here is the contradiction. We are seeking the validation from a system that profits from our creativity while at the same time questioning our worth. That's why I guess all these disappointments keep repeating themselves. We asked planes everywhere. We're asking an institution that was built without us, and often a lot of times against us, to fully affirm us. And that sounds crazy to me. So why don't we do our own award shows now? Would black-owned awards be beneficial? Would that be something that we could do, something that we could pull together? And the answer to that question is yes, but only if they're not replicas of the same shit that we got going on, the same people in control. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Perry, I think, just bought BET back. He bought it black. We already have, we have the NAACP Image Awards, we got the BET Awards, but a lot of these awards they're underfunded and they're undervalued by media institutions, and they're also pressured to chase mainstream approval. That mainstream approval. And what I'm talking about is we don't give a fuck about what they think or anybody else. This is awards for us without chasing that same or having that same structure. Something completely and uniquely for us that validates us for us. A truly powerful alternative would require something different. So what would that actually look like? And like a black-centered awards ecosystem, what that would look like is it it redefines, at the very beginning, redefines excellence, not just prestige dramas or suffering narratives, but, real genre work like, comedy and real horror films and experimental films and popular music without having to have crossover pressure. You know what I mean? Like just us being able to really put these things forward for ourselves, not trying to fit in. It's not like, trying to be the Black Panther. It's just, trying to be, one of the original deities that we worshiped ourselves and that we hold value in. If you get what I'm saying. Number 2 is it is controlled by Black creatives, not just performers, but writers and cinematographers and the editors and sound designers, producers and critics. Okay? Power lives behind the scenes. Okay? We have to become more, we need to infiltrate, not really necessarily infiltrate. We just need to validate ourselves. We need to put together these things so that we can validate ourselves. And then that way we're not waiting on their validation. And we don't feel shunned. We don't feel shunned when we're not included. And not for nothing, we need to learn to value our value systems just as much, if not more, than their value standards. We need to create value standards that are just as equal as we want to be, if not better. We cannot reach equality like we want to be equal if we are still chasing their value system. If we still uphold their value system. We need to build our own equally. We have number 3 is has real industry leverage, partnerships with distributors and streamers, festivals and touring circuits. Awards without economic impact are just applause, so Number 4 is don't ask for white validation. Just like I said, no diversity, inclusion framing, no begging mainstream media for care, no measuring success by proximity to the Oscars or Grammys. Just our own things. This isn't a mean thing. The goal is not separation. It is self-determination. And we have to realize that. Okay? So at the end of the day, and this is the biggest truth behind the whole thing. Hollywood really does not struggle to see Black excellence. It struggles to submit to it. Is really what it is. It struggles to let it have its flowers fully. And I look at it like this. And until Black artists stop treating these institutions as the final judgment of their worth, and we start building parallel systems with equal power, this cycle of snubs and outrage and disappointment will just keep repeating itself. So at the end of the day, man, the real question isn't why don't they recognize us or why they don't recognize us. It's why we keep acting surprised when they don't. Okay? So that's really all I got to say about this, man. And again, shout out to them cats and congratulations, brothers, for knocking it out the fucking park. And Ryan Coogler, man, fuck the Academy Award and what they said, bro. You had the best movie of the year. Okay, so I think that's gonna do it for this episode of the Darren Harris Podcast. I gotta go get an oil change and some lunch. Yesterday was my anniversary, man, for me and my wife, man. We love each other. And we're going to go get some lunch, man. So thank you very much for joining me. And I just want to say I want to thank my parents for giving me the mouthpiece and the brain. I want to thank my wife for marrying me and being my biggest fan. I want to thank my producer, Jesse Yandel, for being dynamite every single week. I want to thank Gentry Thomas for the platform. And last but not least, and first, and definitely also last, I want to thank everybody listening to the Darren Harris Podcast, man. I really do thank you, because without you, this shit would not be going nowhere. So, all right. So until next week, man, Act on your best behavior. All right, y'all? Peace.
You've been listening to the Darren Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DarrenHarris.com.